It's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve. Wait. There we go. I I am
What?
red. Here's red. Here's red. I am very
Oh,
festive.
oh, you know what? I forgot. I forgot. Oh, where's she? Oh, she's right here. She's right here. Oh, she's been wearing double T's eye patch. I have Jill Sue. I have
Oh,
Christmas Jill
I
Sue.
forgot about her.
Yes, from our friend Kellen. Christmas Jill Sue. Do 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 do.
I love it that if I am not dressed festive and nice in real life, that I can be dressed festive and nice in your house.
There's always a Christmas Jill Sue.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of like Christmas looking. I'm downstairs right now in my sewing room. And I don't know about you, but for the makers out there, I can only sew Christmas stuff during Christmas.
On Christmas Eve, and that is it.
No, not, but like during like Christmas season.
Good
Um,
luck getting that Christmas quilt together. It's going to take you 12 years because you
pretty
only
much.
sew one day.
Pretty much. But I've been working on these, even though these are red, I've been working on Bonnie Hunter's holiday mystery quilt.
Mystery?
Yep, and even though those are red, her other colors are like an aqua and
Oh.
like a peachy kind of color,
Hmm.
along with umpteen neutrals. So oftentimes when she's giving instructions, she talks about having a leader and ender project while you're sewing on things. And I didn't have one readily available, so I was like, oh, I'm like, I've got a bunch of like 2.5 inch squares. What if I just start sewing red and white together? And then I got the idea to sew like some other things together. And I don't have a completed prototype block sitting next to me, but this is part of it where I was like, okay, I'm gonna sew these 2.5 squares together. Then I was like, I'm gonna do this little band of like 1 inch squares, and then I'm gonna put those strips I showed before, gonna go like all the way around it, and it's just gonna look so. This is part of it coming together.
Oh, like those little teeny tinies.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because I was sewing them together in like strips and then cutting them apart.
Ah, I see. Okay, I
And
see.
then I was like, what if I did an opposite and did a green and white block? So so yeah, like through things I'm sewing, you know. Um so yeah, I was like, I have never ever made a Christmas quilt of any kind, big, small, anything. And I was like, I kind of have just like thought this together and have just been putting it through stuff. So yeah, it could take 12 years, especially if I only work on it during the Bonnie Hunter mystery. I don't know. Like maybe I'll like feel like I don't know how big it's gonna be. I don't know what the layout's gonna look like. I do a lot of that kind of block assembly like
Hmm.
willy-nilly.
Well,
So
sometimes it's those crazy little like just unplanned off the cuff kind of things. Sometimes those like really turn into something really wonderful and exciting and like your favorite thing ever. So,
that's true. I have quite a few of little quilts. Remember when I showed that crazy quilt that I had made, that small kind of wall
hmm.
hanging? From the leftovers of that, I'm looking at another wall hanging that came out of it. That's just pinwheels, it's just simple pinwheels. And then from there came a really mini quilt that's like this big because I kept saving all the
Yeah, well,
square
you
triangle
know,
shapings.
yeah, I promise I'm not giving away anything about my study quilt, but I've got all these little fragments and I was like, well, I could throw them in my stuffing bin, which is what I use these kind of things for, or I can try to make a teeny little quilt. So, I think I'm
I
gonna
have made,
try.
yeah, it's somewhere. I don't know where it is off the top of my head. It's somewhere. I've made some teeny stuff, and I just recently got some 1/2 inch hexies because Steph bit me with the bug. It was a very vampiric night that night when she bit me and sucked my blood, and uh, the venom ran through me, and I've been sewing hexies. So I started with like the 1 inch ones, then I went to 3/4 inch, and now I'm down to half. And I started, getting those going. And luckily, I have a whole big box here of quote chunks, which is just, leftover
Hmm.
pieces, big and small. and
Hmm.
originally for like crumb quilting, but a lot of people were like, if you get into applique, and I was like, I mean, I want to. So,
Well, I can say those little those small hexies, and they're measured by the, the size of the flat. That's a half an inch.
mhm,
Those that size and even smaller, although I don't recommend that because even smaller like made me crazy. But that size is absolutely perfect for fussy cutting. So if you've got like a little print and you can like just center it on the little print, it's
mhm.
that thing you held up. I was like looked like a little, I don't know, butterfly or bird or something. Oh,
Oh,
and it's so cute. It's so
it's
cute when you put them all together.
yeah, it's Halloween. It's a Halloween. Oh, there are two butterflies. One looked like a spider,
Oh,
but yeah, it's a Halloween print.
oh, how cute. Okay.
Isn't that
Yeah, yeah,
cute?
yeah. Yeah, so you could fussy cut that and it's so cute when you like you can do all kinds of designs with fussy
When
cut
I was
little.
looking up a couple of quick YouTube videos on the thread, because this is also my first time thread basting. Before I've always used glue, but these are so tiny. I was telling Steph, I'm like, I just have to glue the whole back and just,
Yeah.
um,
I don't love the glue basting. I know it's easier on those big ones, but I don't love it because it's more difficult to get the papers out,
oh,
So
so far, so good. But it might also be because the ones that I glue basted 6 months ago. But
so
funny,
the glue has given up the ghost and is like,
yep.
all right, okay.
Yes, it can be a little more annoying to like get your needle in there and like get started, like to pull your knot through. But what's funny is I wasn't feeling all that confident about the thread basting. So I texted Stephanie last night and I was like, like, are you sure this is gonna stay? Because like you don't need a knot, like, or anything, and it's looking kind of weird. And she said to me, yes, it's gonna stay. Are you gonna put them in the dishwasher? I laughed way harder
I mean,
at that
seriously, you're like
comment.
stitching them and then you're putting them in like in a box or a bag or something. I'm like, if
Well,
there's no wear and tear on them, they're gonna be okay.
well, I guess kind of the thing I was wondering is like, like once you start stitching along the edge here is like some of that little pulling maybe gonna, I don't know. I don't know. Like there's
Well,
no,
once you start stitching, if it does start to kind of come unraveled, you just hold it together. I mean, you got you that far, so that's all you really needed. But it will not if you do the little, the little doop and go into the next doop.
except maybe this one where I was getting a little too excited about holding the fabric down on one side. So, I mean, I got it done, but like I left like no fabric on, on the
Yeah,
one
I'm
side.
thinking that one might have to go in the redo or not use
Yeah,
bin because
I
you're
think I
not
have to
just
reach seven.
there's not a lot there to work with on the side. But also
Yeah.
you can make knots. It's just I don't bother to make knots just because I try to do it quickly. But if
But
you
even
feel it,
making even making knots, I saw like if someone made a knot, they only made it on the beginning, not on the end.
yeah, well, you can still make it on the end. You could just go make a little tack knot more than I'm just trying to help.
Just yeah, because I for when I put them in the dishwasher. Because I literally am picturing like, well, I guess these they can stay in here for a while. They'll be fine. That's how I
Just put them in with the wine glasses. It's all
yeah,
good.
like of
Delicate.
all the comments, all like the snarky comments to make, I'm like the dishwasher? Like maybe I could see like you left them in your pocket and they went through the washing machine, but the dishwasher, it was good. It was good.
First thing that came to mind.
Yep, I literally laughed a long time about that. Anywho,
I'm nothing if not random.
oh, you're nothing if not the comedy relief. Like, um, so yeah, it is Christmas Eve. This video is recorded, so it's not really Christmas Eve.
We're
For
just
all you
time
know,
traveling
actually,
a
for all you know, it is Christmas Eve, and we're recording this at 8 a.m.
bit.
That's how bright and bushy-tailed I'm looking, at this point. I'm in my sewing room for anyone that hasn't seen this view on a video yet. Although I'm like looking here like, wow, I could have tried a little harder on that view. Um, I wasn't anticipating, but I did make sure to like move over so that this like cutie little quilt block thing here is in the back.
I love that little stained glass. I think it's cute.
Isn't that cute? There is another one up at the window up there that's really cool that has its own like stand. But I'm not going to show you that window. It's a basement window. It's about as fantastic as you expect it to be. It's also when I'm down here, the only way I know if it's daylight outside or not, because that's it. The other window has an air conditioning unit in it. It's also significantly cold down here.
Yeah, when you're below the ground, it can be a little chilly.
I just was stupid and didn't come down and turn the heaters on like early. Anywho, so we have a exhibit to look through because we're sitting on some extra stuff here. And also in 2025, we're talking about releasing some more recorded content so that maybe we're showing up more than just our Tuesday nights. But we got stuff to look at. So let me there's also a couple of announcements. Let me decide. I'll just share my whole screen here. And oh,
Ooh.
there we go. Whew. It's hard to see because like then Zoom adds all its own crap on your screen and you can't move stuff around. But anyhow, so when you're seeing this video, we're gonna be right here. And then there's a reminder that we just had done well, I guess since we're recording this on the 15th, just in case anyone's interested. Because we did a stitch and glitch yesterday that was super fun. We were on air for like 3 hours. I got quite a few things done. You got some stuff done.
Hmm.
So we're doing another one of those on the 28th because I don't know about anybody
Well,
else, but
I would also add word on the street is our friends got some stuff done because I know
oh,
at
that's
least
true.
3 or 4 people said, "Hey, this 3 hours went by crazy fast, but I got stuff done." So we're
Mhm.
like patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah,
We did a good thing.
yeah. It was, I mean, those I find don't watch it if you're hungry. Because we talked about a lot of food. I don't
Yeah.
I was very hungry by the end of that. But I find that for someone like myself and staff, because we talked about it a lot, this time of year, the lack of daylight hours, and the cold, and
Yeah.
if it's snowy, kind of that like, slushy wet, I like snow if I don't have to go anywhere in it, but like once you have to go and deal with the world and it's all like full of salt and sand and yuck, it does not do great things for me this time of year.
Yeah.
I find myself in low spirits. So I've noticed that the open sew type hours where we're just yakking and whatever, I find them very recharging for my inner Scroogeness.
Yeah,
So,
so if you're watching this, then we've got another Stitch and Glitch coming in just a couple days.
mhm. Yeah, I
And
find that this
yeah.
weekend in particular can be rough for people after
Hmm.
Christmas. So,
And I promise to find something better than food to talk about.
I mean, I certainly hope so. We definitely went the gamut from like
Well,
crappy
chicken
fast
sandwiches.
food to
Yeah.
like really like gourmet like fogo de chao, um, which was great. I'm like, wow, I can be starving in all denominations.
Yeah, and if you have not watched it, I mean, definitely you want to tune in, like scrub through there, find my Joey Chestnut plan for eating at Fogo de Chao.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing is there's no skipping the food talk because it's sprinkled throughout. Like we start talking about something else and then she brings up food again. And I think there's a point where I literally look at her like, just stop talking. Like, so
Well, my
um,
cats have a lot of influence on me.
that's
Naps
true.
and food are like two of my priorities as they are priorities for my cats. So
Well, sadly though, no one's delivering Fogo de Chao. So mm,
it's true. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
yeah.
All right.
So after our 28th there, Steph will have one more stream on her Twitch, and then we'll have one more for us. And then I think what we will do is obviously by that last week there I'll have the January calendar up. What's the
And this
matter?
year will be over. Yeah, I'm
Oh, I
just
was gonna
looking at this calendar going like, ah, the year's gonna be over. Like,
Yep. And so I'll have a January calendar. And then what I think we'll do, because we talked about ending out the year with notebook stuff, is that let me just peek right real quick here. The first is on a Wednesday. So what I think we'll do is on the 7th, which will be our first Tuesday stream, that will be the stream that we give the first assignment in the book
Ah, okay.
instead of doing it on the 31st, so that we literally start a whole new year into a
Hmm.
new cycle. So the 7th for us will also be like a free night, and then we'll give the first book assignment, which our first
Hmm.
book, Steph, hold it up. I forget the name of it.
The reminder.
The
The
Dress
Dress
Diary. There you go.
Diary of Mrs. Anna Sykes by Kate Strassman. And my copy is the UK edition, so the one in the US may look a little different, but it's available on Amazon and
Yeah,
I
we
are
have
on
in our
our
last
Amazon list. Yeah.
Yeah, in our last two or three videos, inside the holiday gift guide is the link for that book for both Amazon and Abe. But of course, I'll stick it up. I'll stick it up again in stories and stuff to remind people. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Then I want to remind people that in January is Tea and Textiles at the Schwenkfelder, which is a virtual thing going on. But our friend Dawn is one of the lecturers, and there's three lectures you can purchase for $50. That also includes a bonus lecture. The roster looks really fun today. Their topic is like has to do with like rock, paper, scissors. I think that's
I know.
really
I love that. I love that topic and it's just sounds so fun.
yeah. So you've got exploring palimpores, paper samplers, which I've never don't really know anything about. And then you've got a bonus mini lecture here about painted paper samplers. And then
Mhm.
you have Dawn here all about scissor
Their
stories.
stories. I love that.
So that's is at the Schwenkfelder. We'll stick the link in the description, and that will be the 25th from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And I do believe, yes, they are recording it and you
Yep.
can
You
watch
have 1 month
them,
after. Yep.
yeah, 1 month. So that's a lot. A lot of times they only do like a week or two. So
Yep.
that is worth your while. We really like the Schwenkfelder
Hmm.
and the things that they do. So without further ado here, unless you have anything else to add.
Nope.
my dear. So we went to the Mennonite Life Museum with
Hmm.
our friend Ann Hermes and Barbara Garrett when we were in town in October.
And you want to mention where this is?
Yep. Um,
I can't remember the exact like
yeah, I can't remember.
town, but it's in southeastern PA,
There you go. Yeah, I was trying to remember
Pennsylvania.
the exact town. Why was I having such a brain fart there?
Yeah, all those little localities around there all have different like little names, like they're all very close
Hmm.
together. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm drawing a blank on, and you were driving, so I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even
so I
have my
get a
GPS.
reprieve. Um, so the reason that we went there is I don't if you were with us when we were reading Anne's book on Pennsylvania patchwork pillowcases, she had gone to this particular place to do research because they had some in their collection, and it was called something else at that time, Mennonite history, something maybe. I forgot. But it was called something else, and we were just like, hey, that place is near around where we tend to go
Hmm.
gallivanting in Pennsylvania. We should maybe go there. And was like, well, if you're going, I'm going too. And Barb Garrett was like, I want to go. So we all went for the day. It's very in terms of the museum exhibition space, it's very small. You don't, I think maybe we were in there an hour at the most.
Hmm.
'Cause we
But
were
it's
partnering.
fascinating.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were partnering around the
fascinating to
gift
look
shop
at.
too for a
Yeah.
while. They have
Hmm.
a substantial sized gift shop for what they've got going on in there. One thing I was loving is all of these photos.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
a
You
lot of
you
fancy.
got more of the photos of photos than I did. But yeah, these photos were so great.
I don't know why, but black and white photos of women creating are very fascinating to me. It's almost like I'm gonna get real corny here, but it's almost like I can feel them.
Hmm.
Does that make any sense? Does it sound weird?
Yeah, yeah, because even if like I've never spun anything on a spinning wheel, but I could feel the thread in my hands. Like,
Hmm.
if you do anything that's crafty, fiber related, you could feel the sense of the motion of and feel the fiber in your hands and
I can also picture in this moment what it would be like to eat cotton candy. Like, 'cause that's kind of
yes.
what that thing looked like.
Yeah, so that's the distaff. And that's something that weavers and spinners know a lot about, and that's where you put your big hunk of whatever you're spinning. So it's like a big cloud of wool or flax. and it's just a big wad, and they put it on the distaff, and the distaff's got like it's like a spindle, like a pointy piece. That they, you know how in Rumpelstiltskin she pricks her finger on the spinning wheel.
Hmm.
Remember that? It's the distaff she pricked her finger on,
Wasn't that also in Sleeping Beauty?
possibly.
I think it was
I
Sleeping
read
Beauty.
some scholarly piece about the, all the things about children's fairy tales and textile and women's work kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, when you get into the real history about children's fairy tales are really dark and gruesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Not the
for
Disney
sure.
version that you see today. All right,
For sure. Yeah.
moving on. So I even there's this great um like like chunk of a house they've rebuilt
Hmm. Yeah.
inside when you walk
It's like a
in.
life-size diorama.
That's the word I was missing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I did get a picture of that here. But yeah, this log cabin stood near the tract boundary between 1717 immigrant Mennonite neighbors Jacob Landis and Benjamin Whitmer in East Lampeter Township, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, about 2 miles north of the Lancaster Mennonite Historical Society. That must be what it used to be called, right? That sounds more like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So this is in the Lancaster
Hmm.
region.
The cabin probably stood on land owned by Jacob Landis and his son, Minister Benjamin Landis of the Mellinger, I don't
I think
know,
it's probably Mellinger
Mellinger
Mennonite
Mennonite
Church.
Church. But trading of land portions for water rights and several unrecorded deeds have made this difficult to establish. Um, I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but it was very, very interesting and big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of up high. It's
Yeah.
not at your standing height, so your perception is a little bit different. I might also have a panning video in here. Oh, oh yeah. We don't need the sound. The sound's just us talking.
Yeah.
It's not anything interesting, but yeah, like that bed with the quilt on it. And the
Yeah.
little like
Little,
I'm sure
just
this
like a
is
little
probably meant to be like baby, but it looks more like a doll bed.
little doll bed. Yeah.
Very cute, very interesting. I stood there. The one thing that I wish you could do is I actually wish you could walk into it, but
Yeah.
that's
Well,
just
and
me.
museums put things up like that so you don't climb right into the bed.
I didn't say climb into the bed. I said walk into the
Well,
thing.
but the next thing, if you can walk in there, the next thing is I'm gonna
Yeah,
sleep in
leave
there.
it to you to take it just one step too
Did
far.
I not say that food and naps are my priorities?
Yeah, so they'll find you in there under the crazy quilt, just
Yeah. Me and my cat just
yeah. Hey, this plastic apple on the table look good. Look, and then
oh.
people might remember this
Hmm.
from Anne's book. The only bummer part for us, at least, was that it was behind. Although this one's not too bad, but it's in a case, and cases get really obnoxious sometimes when you're trying to take photos. But this case was super fun because you've got the fabulous patchwork pillowcase in there.
Hmm.
But then you've also got all these like stencils for things. There's this one was a pillowcase too, right? It wasn't a towel. I'm pretty sure this
I'm
one was a
not sure. I
pillowcase.
don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one was a
I was
pillowcase.
so focused on her pillowcase.
Mhm.
The pillowcase she documented that I didn't pay attention to
Yeah,
that
and then
other
you
stuff.
got is this
It's like
pattern?
crocheted.
Yeah, crochet.
I think those are crocheted. Yeah.
Hmm.
But to point out that particular pillowcase, when we were reading her book and then interviewed Anne, we really love this one because if you look and see like there's the red shape in the middle, which is I don't know, it's very ubiquitous kind of, Pennsylvania Dutch kind of looking thing. And then the red pieces on the side, when you look, you're like, oh, she cut that middle part out and then she had those two pieces on the side and just went, huh, that looks cool. She stretched them out to the ends and then she made this whole like, composition in there. And
Was
it's
that a
just,
conversation we had?
yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
All
And I
right,
just think
I'm having
it's
a
just
total
really cool.
brain fart, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, you're a genius.
No, but we did talk about this and it's just, it was a way to use up those scraps without because it just created those interesting negative spaces, and then she filled them with stars and
Yep.
little petal type
Totally,
things.
totally
Yeah.
forgot about that conversation because keep in mind everyone, it's December and we were here in mid-October.
No, it had to have been early. Oh no, when we went there, yeah, that was
Mhm.
that was probably October. But what I was going to say when we were talking to Anne about her book, was that August, maybe? I can't
Oh, it was
remember.
before. Yeah, it was before. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
when we were talking about like this particular, because yeah, at first I have to say I wasn't noticing that that was the negative of the centerpiece, but now that I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, I'm like, holy crap, it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
And
And the other thing to
that
point out
looks
is the
really
green
cool.
border. That's not a half square triangle border. That is a dogtooth border. And the way that they do that is they cut a strip and then they snip into the strip and they fold those over and then applique around it. And that's that kind of jaggedy line. And you can
Hmm.
tell especially on the sides. The side closest to the fringe almost looks like it's half square triangle until you get up close to it.
Oh, hold on.
Um,
Went to like zoom in and click on the thing.
yeah, and
And
so this is
oh,
something I've kind of been a little bit obsessed with because I think it's fascinating to. I struggle to piece sometimes, and so I always love finding little shortcuts to applique stuff. And this is one of them. If you want to
you're
make a
such a
border,
weirdo. I don't know anyone that's like, I would rather applique than piece anything.
I would so rather applique than piece. But yeah, when you get up really close, you can see that edge, that straight edge, doesn't go all the way
Mhm.
to the bottom. You know, and it's just because they've clipped it and then just folded the extra fabric
Hmm.
in. Yeah.
Wow. All kinds of lessons in this one pillowcase.
It's just, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to look at there.
Well, that and I was just gonna say, like, one of the things that we had penciled into the calendar for 2025 is a little sew along to do some,
Hmm.
patch for pillowcase
Yeah.
stuff. Is this potentially something you would pick to do?
I could, but there's another one in Anne's book that I think she said she may have patterned. I'm not sure. If she didn't, I'm on it with her
Mhm.
permission. Um, but yeah, there's another one that I think is kind of fun that I've been eyeballing, but this one would be fun. Yeah, this one would be
This one would
fun.
be very interesting, especially with your revelation there of like recycling that piece. So yeah, see what
Mhm.
I mean about like
Ah,
taking
yeah,
pictures in cases?
yeah,
It's
it's
so
tough sometimes.
obnoxious. And their overhead lights were very bright for a museum space, but I'm pretty sure this was a pincushion, wasn't it?
It was either a pin cushion or like a pen wiper or some kind of little doodad.
Yeah, I
I,
think
I think maybe a pin cushion.
let me see. Did I get a picture of Oh yeah, and then it had these birds in them.
Mhm.
These were pincushions, weren't they? Or were they toys?
I I don't remember what it said.
I
This is
feel like
terrible.
well, because this has little marks in it here.
Yeah, I
I
think
feel like
those were
that's a
pincushions
pincushion.
too,
I feel like
but
I got yeah, see, I have the thing.
okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember whether I took any pictures other than the pillowcase from Anne's book. So,
yeah, because like these are little
mhm.
pincushions. These are like little like pot holder
The
things.
plush, you have the plush work in there.
Actually, I think it's the next picture. Yeah,
Ah,
Amish
here we go.
made
Yeah.
pin cushions. Yeah. Amish women's dresses are pinned for closure because of this and their use in sewing. Straight pins are objects of great importance. Keeping track of the number necessary for Amish homekeeping requires ample and easy storage. Pin cushions of all sizes and shapes were designed to meet this need, including animal-shaped fabric sculpture. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Beadwork, needlepoint, hand crocheted lace, and crazy patch teardrop cushions. Crazy patch teardrop cushions. Did we see any like that? I don't know that we
I'm
did.
I'm wondering does that mean those ones that have that shape, they look kind of like a bell or like a
I don't remember if we saw any of those. Size and color allowed pincushions to become decorations to hang from shelves or in china cabinets. With sewing as a major responsibility for Amish women, pincushions became a source of pleasure and creative expression.
and you don't have to be Amish to love a pincushion.
Oh no, that is quite true. I love just looking to see if anything teardrop is in here. No. But yeah, I think these birdies are definitely pincushions because I notice there were some for sale at Seminar. Stella Rubin, I think, had some.
Ah, yes, I think I did see some in her case.
Oh, good. I did get some close-ups. Okay. It's hard to remember. This one's so cute. It looks like clown feet.
Yeah, I really love this stuff that the Amish and Mennonite communities do with these. I didn't really realize until more recently that this was, at least in southeastern Pennsylvania, a Amish Mennonite sort of craft. I'd seen this stuff out and about, but um, needlework tools in general, I've learned so much more about in the last few years, and these are just treasures.
Mhm.
And the great thing is you can find them in antique stores in that
Yep.
area, and like
hmm
pretty affordably if it's something that you wanted to collect.
hmm And then there was another case here with some other
Yeah, this
goodies.
had some very neat stuff in this case. It's not
Yeah,
all
like
sewing related, but
the box up here.
hmm
I don't even care what it's supposed to be for. I just
yeah,
know what I'd use it for just because it's
yeah.
so pretty on
And
the
that's that, we hear our friends up there in Pennsylvania always talk about, things looking Dutchy. It's this idea of Pennsylvania Dutch and the people, the community, they just love to just decorate things because, it's everyday use items, but they don't have to be mundane and boring. And so they just decorate like more is more. They decorate the heck out of everything. And I just love that because I'm a more is more type of person too.
I just now noticed this tatting shuttle.
Yeah.
I didn't
Little
notice that last
tatting
time because
shuttle.
you've got this like crochet stuff in the back here.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. And I think it's a sewing basket or some type of basket that has that not it's
it-
not log cabin, like a pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah, that. And I don't know if it's like a sewing or I mean it's some kind of little crafty basket. And then those little pin cushion pillows.
Yeah, so what does this little thing say? No, all I'm really making out here is 1913.
Yeah, I can see it's in that Proctor kind of font.
Yeah.
So it's hard to read sometimes.
Yeah, this like needlework thing here is
Oh,
really
that
pretty.
is fabulous. I absolutely love that and the red stripiness of it and everything. It's so fabulous.
Mhm. And then we've got another box down here that is not near as decorated as that one on the top there that I really love, but I would also not be upset with this box. This
Yeah.
box is equally interesting. I will gladly take that box. I love being able to zoom into stuff. It makes me happy. So pin cushions and stool needlework. Let's see, these three needlework items were made by folk artist Barbara Ebersol, an Amish dwarf working in Upper Leacock Township, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. The
Okay, I
applique,
never read I never read this time.
yeah,
This little
yeah.
blurb.
I don't often read them either. The applique butterfly pincushion featuring the blanket stitch was made in 1913 for Amanda Farmwald. She made numerous pincushions with crewel embroidery flowers and a patchwork back. This small pincushion with black woolen background was done possibly in the late 1800s for a niece. The skirted patchwork stool covers. I wonder if that's what you were looking at.
Oh, yeah, maybe that is what that is.
A cut down nail keg, which she took along when staying in another home for any length of time to sew or visit. She gave similar tools as wedding gifts, probably intended as footstools. Yeah, so let's
Oh
go
my
back.
goodness. Yes, I see an Amish little person. I mean, that's fascinating.
Yeah, could that be a footstool
Yeah.
cover?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe what I thought was kind of gathered around it, I thought maybe it was like a handle or something, but maybe it's like a little flounce.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess that ring at the top could just be like what she carried, maybe used to carry it around or something. I don't know. That's
Very
how
interesting.
interesting. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's a bummer. I'm assuming they don't have pictures of her, but
No, because I
yep.
would have
Well,
taken it for that too.
being that she's Amish, probably not.
Mhm. Yeah, and then we were having a whole conversation about these because you'd been talking
Yeah,
about
the show
these.
towel.
hmm this I have to say is like the showiest of the show towels that I've ever been shown. Because I
But
feel
yes,
like
this
they're not usually this ornate or this long. At least the ones that I've seen
well,
pictures.
and
I'm
that's
sure
the thing.
Barbara would say she sees a lot of long ones.
I yeah, I have seen someone in seen some in someone's collection. an AQSG quilt study person. I've been to her home and she has a number of those. And she
Okay.
does have some that are, I don't know if they're like quite this ornate, but yeah, that have a lot of
Now,
stitching on them.
because there's this big blank space, were you actually expected to wipe your clean hands on that?
No.
Okay. Well, then what would be the reason for leaving a
Well, and
big blank space?
that's the thing that I guess still kind of baffles me a little bit is like what did these look like in use? Because it does have the two little loops at the top, and so it
Hmm.
is meant to be hung like this. I know one person told me, well, there's the communal towel, like the, try your hands on it towel, and that this was maybe hung over it, perhaps, or I mean, but the point of this is to show off the needlework skills of most likely a young woman who was maybe courting or something, and that, when her beau would come over, this would be put out to showcase her skills. Um,
I feel like you need this, you want that big open space to showcase whether or not he's a beau that actually washes his hands every time he goes to the bathroom.
Well, but that's the thing, like this is not for use at all. So that's why I don't know what that middle.
Maybe it's a test to be like, will he respect the show towel or
Yes, if you find his dirty handprints on that show towel, he's out
Mhm.
of here, mister.
Yeah, so I got some separate photos here of all the pieces and parts. This is
Mhm.
1839.
Yeah. And this I believe is it's counted cross stitch or sort of needlepoint essentially. They are little crosses. And it's just done, by counting the plain linen weave. This is linen fabric. I'm pretty sure it's
Look
linen.
at this. I didn't even really pay attention. She's even got this like
Uh-huh.
cute like little star
Uh-huh.
border. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's just this is the kind of needlework that I'm just like, this is so amazing. This person must have had incredible vision. She probably was blind by the time she was done with this. I just know I can't stitch things that tiny. I can't see it. My vision just is not good enough. Yeah.
And then just like look at she's got like another little like star here.
Well, and that section down there is I think is filet crochet. I think.
I don't know.
Hmm.
So I'm not gonna argue with you.
Unless
To
that
me,
is,
to
yeah,
me
I
it
think
just looks
it's
like
filet
white
crochet.
work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's filet crochet. I could be wrong though. I don't think I got a full picture of that
It was
towel, so I'm
hard to
not
get
sure.
the picture because it was,
Yeah.
right at the
Hmm.
ground level.
Yeah.
Um, but then we got, you want to read this one?
So, show towel made by Anna Lieb Stayman, 1819 to 1911, one of the finest Mennonite needleworkers in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. She
Yes.
later married Jacob Hershey of East
Oh.
Petersburg, Pennsylvania. I wonder if he was part of the Hershey. Probably. I think all the Hersheys in Pennsylvania are somehow related. Let's see, Anna Stamen is my name. Heaven is my station. Warwick Township, Lancaster County is my dwelling place. Christ is my salvation. I think that's a common little thing. When I am dead and in my grave and all my bones are rotten, when this you see, remember me, lest I be quite forgotten. The rose is red, the leaves are green, the days are spent, which I have seen. A.S. 1839. OEHBDDE in flower design. And I do not know how this is properly pronounced, but it is um, it's like an old order um terminology thing. Like when you see that, like this is a Mennonite. And it means, "O noble heart, remember your end." This towel contains numerous beautifully executed designs and drawn work at the bottom. Okay, so maybe that's the drawn work that's at the bottom. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful,
Well, and
beautiful
we
thing.
clearly, I mean, now that she's like kind of like heralded here as one of the finest needleworkers in Lancaster County,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
yes, yes, you're right. Next to it was this really pretty sampler, which
hmm,
again, glare,
yeah,
but what are you
yeah.
gonna do? I forget. Was this one also done by her? Do you
I
even
don't remember.
see a
I don't think I
name?
really looked at this one very much. You got the ABCs in there.
I don't know. I have this thing on samplers with like houses and buildings and stuff. I don't know why I really
Mhm.
like them, as well as like foliage type things, which there's almost always on there.
Unless it's there right above the houses and trees, there's a line, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
wondering if
see like
that's where
the
the Yeah. Hmm.
Mrs. Zook's school, maybe it says. Well,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
just
not
see,
sure.
because I'm sure I got a picture of the thingy.
Yeah.
Sampler, 1842 by Martha Nisley. Is that like
Nicely.
Nisley Tulauza?
I think it's
Yes, yes.
I guess is it might be nicely.
Nice. Okay.
I'm
Um,
not I'm not sure though.
daughter of Jacob and Elizabeth Craybill, Nisley, and later the wife, wait, and later the wife of Elias and Ebby, East Dongle Township.
Donegal.
Whatever, some of these names. She was born March the 26th AD 1833 in Mountjoy Township, Lancaster County, state of Pennsylvania, made in Mrs. Zook's
Mrs. Zook's
school
school.
in the 10th year of her age.
10 years old.
I mean, that that is actually that's really old compared to
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
newborn baby cubs that are often making these. I couldn't
Yes.
even make it look that good now. Like little did we know at this point in our lives that we were going to have to feel inadequate next to
When I was
literal
10 years
children.
old, yeah, when I was 10 years old, I was most concerned about getting the Purple Rain soundtrack for Christmas. I was not pulling out a needle and thread.
So this is
Ah,
what
this. All
we
right, so here's
knew.
the rest of our presentation.
Yeah, like this is what we knew we were going to spend a lot of time on. There weren't like tons of quilts in this exhibit, lots of needlework related things as you've seen, but this is really the piece de resistance in this thing, and it is glorious. Didn't we one I
Yes.
wonder, I feel like part of the conversation might have been if this big block in the center had started out as something else, like a doll quilt or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do remember thinking
And
about
then
that.
someone, because it is kind of like one of these things is not like the other, because everything else is very
Yeah, but it
pictorial.
yeah, but it works because I mean
Oh
it's
yeah.
pretty clearly I think the same fabrics. It's all from the same
Mm-hmm.
fabric
Mm-hmm.
source.
But yeah, all of this great pictorial stuff.
Hmm.
So do you want to read this one?
Yeah, so this is a quilted coverlet. Circa, can you zoom in a little bit?
Yep, sorry.
Remember, blind. I'm not like what's her name?
Is that enough?
I'm not I'm not 10 years old. I think this is good. Yeah. So circa 1905 to 1915. This superb applique and patchwork cotton coverlet portrays farm scenes, including haymaking, apple picking, grazing, and routine farm activities common in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It was made by Susanna Sensenig Gebman, or Gemin? Yeah, that's not a B, Gemin. 1834 to 1915, wife of Moses Gaiman, 1823 to 1890, and daughter of John and Elizabeth Martin Sensenig for her oldest granddaughter, Susie H. Gemin, 1905 to 2000, whose initials, Sue H.G., appear embroidered in the center. Susie later married Ferris M. Martin, born in 1899, but she never used this quilt. And while that is sad, I'm thinking, thank you, Susie, for never using this quilt because that means we
Mm-hmm.
get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
A brilliant innovator, Susanna's fabric scenes stand alone among Mennonite quilts of southern Pennsylvania. Of her two children, only Samuel survived to adulthood. The book Children of the Conestoga, written by Susanna's grandson, Clayton Gaiman, a minister in the Church of the Brethren, refers to her as grandma. And then it lists all the other grandchildren.
Hmm. Yeah, so they're basically saying like this is kind of the only pictorial quote we see in Mennonite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the first thing that I had to take a picture of.
There's some little Sue-like people in here.
Hmm. And I will, we were reveling at the fact that the shoulder is placed in the correct place.
Hmm.
And this is one of the most lifelike
Yeah. So
that
yeah,
we've ever seen.
Susanna had the idea of where shoulders should go and how hats are gone straight.
Yeah. It's fun, interesting. I'm only really just paying attention to the fact that like some of this is machine, obviously, and then
Hmm.
we've got, hand. Um, where am I going here? And then
And
let's
I think
see.
there's another little figure there, right
Yep,
there at the
there's
bottom
this
of the red.
one. And then what's this, like a water pump, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I think. It looks like a pump. Yeah,
Then we got a
where she's
horsey's
filling
head
water.
here. Let's see, we can also there spin this house around. I do have other pictures, don't worry. But the stitching here along this like tree like thing, that's pretty coarse looking stitching. Like she used some kind of special, like even around this bush, like
Hmm.
it's thick. I'm wondering if like she's trying to give like a leaf type texture.
Yeah, maybe,
Oh,
maybe.
I'm trying to move you out of my way. Um, yeah, I like oh my God, this fabric here for this house.
Hmm.
Yum.
Yeah, these are really lovely, like fabrics of the time period when you like that backing is like a shirting,
Hmm.
in that block. I guess the horse is out of a shirting.
Yeah, we'll see him again, don't worry. Yeah, there's your, I'm just gonna have to keep like moving my zoom screen here. Oh, there's more of that tree thing.
Yeah, I mean, this quilt as our coverlet, as exciting as it was a real pain to photograph because it
Yeah,
is in a case behind glass. It's like,
yeah.
stretched across and she made it so that the drape, but you would see the scenes on the drape. So it's like they're
Mhm.
they're facing different ways. So you're kind of like trying to take pictures.
Yeah. That one, I mean, that's the beauty of who cares if it's facing the wrong way? I can turn it around.
Yeah, that is
But
that is the good thing.
yeah, then you got like, just a red house here. We got another figure. I don't know why I'm obsessed with like the texture going on in this tree. Half of it too almost looks like I don't know, like the way that you make like a rag quilt. Like see, like she left it like she didn't
Mhm.
stitch down all the edges. Like it's almost like they're like pinked and then some of them she like twisted or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that may have been her intent was to kind of just make it fuzzy around the edges.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find that quite
And I mean, look
that's
at that
burden.
texture around over here on the right hand side, the
This here.
stitches.
There
Yeah.
that's called something when you remove those inner stitches and like what the
Well, is
hell?
that what that is? Is that drawn work? It's called drawn work when you remove
Okay, yeah, it
threads
looks
and
like that's what it is where
yeah.
she's removed stitches. Yeah, because you can see the
Oh,
shadowing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were just some kind of like sort of embroidery stitch thought.
Well, she's removed stitches. So this is not made by the same person who made that show towel, but I feel like they need to have a showdown.
Yeah, this is Susanna, and now I'm drawing a blank on who made the show towel. Um, Elizabeth, I think was her name Elizabeth.
I don't know. There's a lot of these placards have a lot of names on them.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a handful of names. You throw them out. It's safe. Shout Elizabeth, and somebody's gonna answer.
Yeah, and here's the red cross
Yeah,
stitch.
Susie. Hmm.
Hmm. And
Susie
I
H.
mean, even
Gammon.
just this block alone, as like well, it's funny, this inner portion of it is very similar to the doll quilt that I purchased at
Hmm.
seminar. That's like a red and blue.
Uh-huh.
That's a log cabin like this.
Yeah. And I think you're right. That center medallion piece, not just the log cabin pieces, but also those stars were probably orphaned from something, another project.
Hmm.
And like you said, maybe it was put together as a doll quilt, but I can see how this, was probably just pieces and disparate pieces that she put together and was like, oh, this looks good, you know.
Ugh.
Ah, another little scene. Look at the little guy at the bottom, the
You
little
know what it
man.
reminds me of is it reminds me of that piece that we saw when we went to the American Folk Art Museum with Mary
Yeah.
that was
Hmm.
on that back wall that was about like it could have been made for like some brother and there were like yeah, it really I feel like I
Hmm.
almost feel like we might have to do like a social media post with them side by side.
Well, I just pictorial quilts in general. I think they're so fun to look at, and yeah, side by side would be really fun to see, like the different techniques and the different,
Well, and
yeah.
wasn't that subject matter similar? Weren't they outside working on a farm? feel like they might have been. I could be wrong, but I
Uh,
feel like they
me
might have been.
maybe we're not thinking of the same quilt.
Oh, I mean, that's very
It's
possible too.
yeah.
But yeah, just the
It's
execution of
not
the house.
it's not like we only look at a couple.
It's true. It's true. And then I'm guessing like,
Yeah.
so does every property have a water? Oh my God, what are these called?
Um, yeah,
Just
a
a water
pump,
pump outside?
a well, a pump. Yeah, that would be a necessity in the
No,
1800s,
but
the 19th century.
I just didn't think everyone would have had their own outside the house. Like
Well,
I would have figured a more communal spot. And
yeah,
this is
I
at
think
least the
that's more
second
of a
house we've seen one.
I think communal pumps and wells are more of an urban thing.
Hmm.
Whereas, if you were out on a farm, you would have had your own well or water source, and you would have definitely the pump outside. But I know some houses were built in a way that you had a pump in the kitchen too. Like
Hmm.
essentially your kitchen was right over a water source. We have a situation like that with our neighbors, and they actually fell through the kitchen floor
Oh my. What do you
and
think
discovered
she's got going on here?
apple picking.
Oh, it kind of looked like a little doll.
Yeah, don't you remember haymaking, apple picking? That's what's going on
I
here.
know, but doesn't it almost kind of look like she's got a little doll underneath her?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks to me like she's pulling something off a tree.
You're fired. Just shh.
And this must be haymaking because there's all those birds. And there's that one animal, maybe it's a cat,
Yeah, it's
that's sort of
definitely
up in
cat.
and I guess it's supposed to be like in the distance chasing birds, but it looks like it's up there like
Yeah, it's definitely a cat. Like, look at all the detail though on these horses.
Yes, and the horses that were kind of in that other picture, like even down to their little hooves, you could see their little horse hooves. And then I know there was a brown one that I guess has, well, you can kind of see the one brown one. Looks like he's got like a little blaze on his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
man, I think I would have picked a different color for the hay just because this looks a lot more like manure than which I could see the cat being like, ah, and then the birds are like, we're getting the hell out of here, But
well, that's my assumption that this is the haymaking one. I mean, this might be some other farm
yeah,
activity
maybe
like
it's manure because like
scooping
this is
manure. I don't
yeah, this is looking awful cowish over here.
manure scooping. Yeah, I don't know.
And then you got these ladies here. They looks like they're doing laundry.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like they're like washing a shirt or something.
Mm.
I love it. Look at these little wheels. Like God, you could just like look at this thing all day long.
Yeah, it's so charming, and it's a really, I mean, I think pictorial quilts are a really important piece of history
Hmm.
because particularly if you have some provenance, if you kind of know like what family or region it came from, then it can really tell you a lot about what was maybe happening at the time that the maker made this, or what was happening in their world that they were inspired by or wanted to depict.
Hmm.
Um,
Especially if it's a scenario where you don't have photographs.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's a photograph of all of these farm activities would be the best thing we could have, but without it, this person's rendition, Susanna's rendition of what that looked like is the next best thing,
Hmm.
outside of like descriptions. So, this. Now I did get pictures of this
Of
because
course you did.
because haircraft is bizarre, a little icky and creepy, but I love it so much.
Oh, hold on. I got too excited there.
And one thing to mention here, and I think it comes up with this, is apparently our friend Barbara told us that in this area there was kind of this, it was late 1800s, there was kind of this sort of, I guess, famous happening where a Mennonite couple that was courting, I don't know if it was one of them or both of them, were killed in a train accident.
I think it was both of them.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, tragic. But it also was kind of one of those things like it's sort of, I think it was like a watermark for this particular community because um apparently that couple weren't plain dressing. And I guess they hadn't made their I can't remember what the word of like they when they get married in the church, under the eyes of the church, like they've made their commitment to the church. And I think that it was kind of like they were still courting, so they hadn't made their couple's commitment into the church. And so I think there was like all this worry about this tragedy, and there was a lot of remembrance around these people, but also like this, like I think legit worry for their souls because they had been taken down in their prime before they had had a chance to commit themselves to the church as a
Hmm.
married couple. And I think that from what we've seen was really and probably still is very important in the Mennonite church and community is that commitment.
This one was hard to get a picture of because of the
Yeah, and I
like
think let's
this
see.
hair
Yes.
picture.
So it's Barbara Hershey who's killed in the train accident, and her friend Enos Barge. It was her. And so some of their hair is included in here.
Mhm. Yeah, hair like stuff, Victorian. Because I mean, we are, it's still Victorian stuff. It wasn't something that just they decided to do. Like I'm sure someone saw something
Well,
somewhere.
I mean, I actually took a really interesting course on hair art and jewelry and remembrance, and looking at like literally how some of this stuff is done. Like these are just, braided pieces, but there is some very elaborate stuff that they did during the Victorian era. And, as today, I know a lot of people are kind of squicked out by it, like, ugh, hair. But I mean, think about it. There are still some of these rituals we still do. Like lots of people keep a little lock of hair of a baby's first haircut,
Hmm.
and that's really no different. I mean, it's the same thing. And like, when kids lose their teeth, their baby teeth, I know lots of moms keep those. I did.
You know what I kept? I kept my wisdom teeth when they pulled those suckers out because it was really gnarly.
They
Anyhow,
never gave me mine. So, speaking of gnarly, here's a coffin.
it's an awfully tiny coffin too. Like
Yeah, and I tried to remember all the details about the coffin, but
I got a thing. Don't you worry. I got
yeah,
a
there's
thing.
there's definitely a placard there that talks about it. But I just remember walking over and I was like, oh gosh, a coffin
Yep. So
with a cradle right beside it.
I know. Yep. And that coffin is 1980.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really not that. It's just wooden coffin, typical of those used for burial in the old order Mennonites today. It's just simple, padded. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually surprised that there's a padded lining. Like,
Yeah. Well,
and
and the
it's
other
not.
thing, then the thing that it's sitting on is the coffin bier, and
Mhm.
that's the basically kind of reminds you of a wheelbarrow.
Mhm.
It's like, and so that is old. So I'm kind of wondering if the coffin itself, even it was made in 1980 as kind of a replica of what they've used all along. Not to say that was not currently used like that in 1980, but I'm kind of wondering if like their coffins have always looked like that, that very coffin shape.
Well, considering it was the gift of like a funeral home,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
and then also what's important to note here is the cradle that we'll see in
Hmm.
another picture. Um, Dovetailed wooden cradle with decorative lobes and cutwork was used in the women's anteroom of the Stony Brook Mennonite Meeting House, York, Pennsylvania, circa 1884 to 1965. One couple whose children were rocked in it was James S. and Alma M. Groff, and more names. Accompanying quilted patchwork coverlet made by Norma Grace, newcomer, Strawbridge, Brogue, Pennsylvania. God, there's so many words for just where we
Yeah.
are. Of
Yeah.
scraps from her dresses and skirts circa 1940 to 59. Then
Oh, and the other thing to mention is the shrouds.
I don't
When
know
you
that I
think
got
about,
pictures of them. They were just simple
um,
night shirts.
they were hanging on the wall, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they're just, yeah, like white night shirts. And I think what's really interesting is that, and I don't know about today, but it kind of sounds like they're still, that's still how they do things. In our normal US, normal, that's terrible. Like the non-Mennonite US culture, um, you'll see people dressed in a suit or, for a viewing
Hmm.
at a funeral home.
Hmm.
But that's not how they handle things. You're in that just like a shroud.
Hmm. And then I got a picture of this little cute patoot thing because of this like whole block painted in
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got
Was
a
that was that like a little prayer book or I
I
can't
think so.
remember.
Let me see if I got, did I get the book plates?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a book, the label. It's a hymnal, I guess. It's probably a hymnal or some
Yeah,
type
it
of
says from
little.
hymnals, Bibles,
Mhm.
martyrs, mirrors. I don't know what those are. Catechisms, musical notebooks, and school books. Some contain family names, religious texts, and admonitions to a higher life. Yeah, the front, yeah, book plate consisted of a label and the front cover of the flyleaf. Yeah,
I
well,
think it's interesting. They noted they mentioned zodiac signs.
yeah, well, so the
That's
reason I
interesting.
took this, other than like it looks like a quote block, is this reminds me a lot of like medieval illuminated
Hmm.
manuscript type
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I think the fact that they have that Proctor writing that I mean
Hmm.
that type of font, that script does look like, those because I'm
Yeah, well,
thinking
this
that's where
is,
it comes from,
I'm
right? It
guessing this
comes from that.
belongs to Barbara. Is it, it can't be Bug. Kind of looks
Oh,
like a bee,
no.
doesn't it?
I struggle with the Proctor letters, especially the Zug. I bet it's Zug.
Zug, yeah.
Yeah. And
But
that's
yeah,
all because that's like all German.
1865, like yeah. And then look at like how like this almost looks like enamel to me. I mean, I know that it's not,
Yeah, I
but
wonder if
this
it's like it might be egg tempera.
hmm
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what kind of paints and stuff they used, but wow.
And then I
Ooh,
had
here's
to get
another
I think
picture.
yeah, this is also our last picture. But I these old black and white photos of women doing stuff just
Hmm.
gets me in my heartstrings. The Paradise Cutting Room, Paradise, Pennsylvania, supplier of cut goods for area sewing circles, circa 1922 to 23. Just it just hits me in the feels, you
Yeah,
know?
well, I mean, it's interesting to see these women that they're doing this stuff for their community. And it's sort of ordinary, everyday kind of stuff. It's nothing, it's not like it's a parade or a celebration or it's a picture somebody happened to capture of this,
Well,
women's work.
and I feel like there's a part of me that feels good knowing that in nearly like any period in time, there was a woman cursing some fabric that wasn't doing what she quite wanted it to do at the moment she wanted it to do it. And like you just feel a connection.
Yes. I joke about this a lot of times on my stream, but I mean, I really do mean it. I think that there's many reasons and there's many conditions that keep us as human beings kind of apart or in divisive situations. But I think when you can bring in needle and thread and fabric, it doesn't matter whether we have the same religious convictions, if our communities are totally different, where we come from, whether we speak the same language. I think when you bring people together, and typically this has been a women's work, but I mean today, men are part of this too. And you got the needle and you got the thread, and it's like everything else falls away.
Hmm.
Everything else can fall away. Let's put it that way. Everything else can fall
Mhm.
away, and people can come together. And I will preach that till the day I die. I think that Stitchers can save the world.
Hmm. That's like a nice little note to end on. So,
So, happy holidays.
happy
If you are,
holidays. It's gonna be Christmas
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, if you're celebrating, keep an eye on NORAD to see where, when Santa's coming. Also, if you don't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah is coinciding with Christmas this year, so happy Hanukkah. If you
Mm-hmm.
celebrate neither, let's see, what is today? We are 5 days, I think, from the winter solstice. I may have the date wrong.
That would be the 21st. 6 days?
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
Merry Yule. Merry Yule.
Mary Yule,
Hmm.
a Saturnalia. Does that come in there?
Yeah, people,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
All the things. Like
All
I
the
mean
things.
to really encompass that, you're just, for our pagan friends, you're really just kind of like a blessed be. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that there's definitely, regardless of whether you're spiritual, religious or not, there is something to be said for the year, closing out the year, no matter what kind of year it was, and starting fresh. And,
mhm.
I'm not a resolution person. I don't do that anymore. But, there is something to be said for, okay, December 31st, be
Yeah,
gone.
someone
And yeah,
recently said to us, in something totally unrelated, but I feel like it's good for what you're portraying, is bless and release,
yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Like
And
that.
I'm not gonna lie, 2024 has been rough for me and a number of my friends and family members. And, it is what it is. Life is sometimes like that. But the end of the year, I think, is a great time for saying, like, okay, we're gonna draw the line in the sand. 2024's good, bad, and ugly
Is
is
new,
in the
yes.
past. It's
It's
in the rearview mirror, and we'll take what we need from that. And happy
and leave
2025.
what we don't.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Hmm.
we'll
Yep.
see everybody before the new year.
Yep.
And so.
And all the best food that you can eat. Steph might talk about it on the 28th.
Hopefully by then I will be so sick of the Christmas ham and all the stuff that I'll just be like, let's not talk about food.
I'll just come better prepared for that one, okay?
Yes, have a snack with you when I start talking about all of the chicken sandwiches
Yep.
of every fast food that I have ever eaten,
Mhm. Mhm.
ranked in order. No, I'm kidding.
But you're not, though. You're not. Well,
All right.
everybody, thank you so much for watching her little sunbonnet Sue Jill.
I
Christmas,
wish I
Christmas
I
Sue
wish I
Jill.
could I wish I could keep making it walk and then have it like show up on your see you must be looking at me in a different place because
I gotta go this way.
yeah, I think that worked.
Okay. We
All
should like
right,
take a little photo and make that part of the thumbnail.
for sure.
All right.
All right, guys.
Bye.